Hi guys, welcome back aboard Obelix. This is a pre-recorded video. I recorded this video prior to leaving to spend Christmas and New Year's with Ava. Last year I made a New Year's video where I summed up all of the progress I'd made aboard Athena in that year, and you guys seem to enjoy that video, so I'm gonna repeat that success this year. So here is the major milestones I achieved aboard Athena in 2019. The very first thing I did was to replace the exhaust elbow on Athena's Volvo D240 with a super spiffy new stainless steel version. This was the dot over the I after having moved the engine back into the engine compartment. The rest of the winter was spent up at the workshop after having patched a ton of holes in the old Dodger and doing a lot of fairing. So much fairing, it looked like a brand new Dodger. While working on the Dodger, I also got started building Athena's new rudder. I'd noticed some rust oozing out the bottom of the old rudder, and I was worried about the condition of the rudder stock. The first thing I did was to make a mold of Athena's old rudder, a somewhat time-consuming task that had the distinct upside of me having to repeat the entire process after having completed the first half of the mold. After demolishing the rudder, I found a little bit of corrosion, but nothing too horrible, so I cleaned up the rudder stock, welded in place some reinforcements, and shipped it off to have it passivated, and here it is, looking brand spanking new. For the new rudder, I vacuum infused 2 new spiffy rudder shells, or that's to say I actually ended up making 3 of them because one of them was a horrible failure due to a tiny leak. Very frustrating, but it was really cool to get to do some experiments with vacuum infusion, and I think I learned a lot. I sealed around the rudder stock using some 5200 and filled the rudder with an expanding epoxy foam. Finally, I applied cover coat to the rudder, and just like that, Athena's new rudder was done. I actually still need to install the thing, but still completing the rudder was a major milestone. Speaking of major milestones in 2019, that was also the year I quit my lavish Playboy lifestyle and finally proposed to Ava. Our wedding is still about 1.5 years in the future because I need to finish Athena and Ava needs to finish school, but I love her with all of my heart and I'm very excited for us to be co-captains aboard Athena. Meanwhile, aboard Athena, it was time to start working on the structural members under the cabin sole. The plywood core was wet and starting to disintegrate. I decided to beef up the laminate on the structural members to make the laminate the actual structural part instead of the plywood. This way, no matter what happens to the wooden core, the boat will still be structurally sound. The amount of glass I needed to lay up was determined through the magic of computer simulations done by a super awesome structural engineer. After having demolished the interior, followed months and months of laying up glass. So much glass. During the summer, Ava flew to Denmark to lend a hand aboard Athena. After having cleaned Obelix's bottom, we got to take her out for a few days worth of sailing in all kinds of glorious weather. In the blink of an eye, I was all alone again, and it was back to laying up yet more glass aboard Athena. The structural members was by far the most tedious project I have tackled aboard Athena. I kept plugging away, and after about 2 eternities, I was finally done. Then I was able to really start the rebuilding of the interior. I started with the settee and got a little fancy with some curved plywood. Looks pretty dang spiffy if I do say so myself. Next up was the separation between the head and the technical area. This was made out of foam rather than plywood because this is going to be the inside of the shower. And then it was on to the new nav station, which got insulated with a couple of layers of Armaflex, and yeah, I am very pleased with my little nav station / office. That sums up the major milestones I've achieved in 2019 aboard Athena. Now there's only about 1 year and 4 months until we plan on untying the lines, so you should expect a lot of progress in 2020. Speaking of 2020, I've already got a video uploaded where I talk about the projects I'm going to be working on over the next year, so if you want to check that out, there is a link down in the description, and I'll also pop out one of those newfangled YouTube cards. Because this is a pre-recorded video, I can't be 100% sure, but I believe Ava and I are going to do a live stream next weekend. So if you guys have any questions you'd like us to answer on camera, go ahead and leave them as a comment down below. If live streams is not really your cup of tea, well, I'll be back to my regular DIY content in 2 weeks. Last but certainly not least, I want to say a big thank you to all of you guys for staying tuned. I wish all of you a super spiffy 2020, and of course a very special, ginormous thanks to all of my patrons. Without your support, I would not be able to do what I do aboard Athena, so thank you so much. And that is going to be the end of this video. So Happy New Year's, guys. I hope to see all of you in the live stream next weekend. And yeah, as always, feel free to leave a comment down below. And don't forget, if you've enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like. See you.